Hey everybody, Ned Canty here, General Director of Opera Memphis and Stage Director of our production of The Elixir of Love, opening Saturday, February 2nd. Buy your tickets now, www.operamemphis.org. So we are at the end, almost at the end of our first week of staging. We do have one more day tomorrow with chorus, which is great. The chorus with any show is important, but there are certain shows where the chorus is not only gives the life and the texture to everything that's going on, but really fills in for the audience at times, sort of saying the same things that the audience is thinking or should be thinking. It's a great way to tell the audience how they should be reacting to what they're seeing. And the Elixir of Love course fulfills all of those roles in different ways. But today we focused on Act 1, reviewing some of the things that we've done up until this point, especially the scenes that involve chorus, so that tomorrow, when we have the chorus, we already have a general idea of where the principals need to be, and we also have a pretty clear idea of where are the moments where we most want them interacting with the chorus in some way, or we need somebody to faint there, or we need one of the soldiers to dust off Velcore's jacket at this moment. So sort of work through it that way, and then tomorrow we plug it in, find out if it works, and keep ourselves open to whatever inspiration may come from actually having the human bodies on the stage. So very excited about that. I thought today, since last night's blog was just terrible, God, I apologize. That was just the most dull thing I've ever been involved in, so my apologies. I thought today I would talk a little bit about asides, because this is a piece that is rife with them. Probably 50% of this opera, and I'm not exaggerating, it might even be more, is people not talking to the other people on stage. They're talking to themselves, they're talking to the audience. Sometimes they're making an aside to somebody else on stage, but it really happens a huge amount throughout this piece. And of course, making sure that the audience understands the difference between when you're talking to the person next to you and when you're not is one of those craft things that everybody needs to learn how to do. And there are lots and lots of little sort of variations of it. I personally, for the most part, am a big fan of what I call the kung fu take or kung fu aside. I say that because when I'm working, especially with younger singers, and I'm trying to demonstrate what I mean when I say do a take or a quick take, what I use to demonstrate is, imagine seeing a kung fu movie where every little action has a sound associated. So somebody's like, and everything has that. And so it's sometimes helpful for them to think about doing an aside, so that if they're looking over here on the, when they need to do an aside, it has that same crispness, like that. So that, and usually that works with the music. But one of the interesting things about this piece, or at least I find it interesting, you may find it as dull as last night's podcast. One of the things I find interesting is that in this piece, there are some times when you really want the aside to be a little more gentle, sort of like, when I was thinking about it earlier, those little birds that, dip in the water and sort of go dong, 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 like that. Something more along those lines, something that starts as a little more legato, a little smoother, but then kind of ends a little more softly, clearly, but with just that little bit of a bounce, so that there's several moments where the music, instead of going ba-ba or ba, is going and it's you still want the comedy or the precision of an aside, but you need to make sure that you're giving it a little more time. Again, with pieces like this, my philosophy is that what you try to do as a director is make sure that what you're putting on stage, what you're showing, is a visual and dramatic analog for what the audience is hearing, so that the two things as they happen make sense together. Sometimes in other pieces, and especially the more modern you get, the more often this happens. Often what is being sung and what is actually going on can be quite different, and that tension between what we're hearing and what we're seeing can be very powerful. And I guess, having said it, more modern is more common. It happens in all kinds of pieces from the Baroque era and a lot of Mozart, that sort of thing. But with the comedies, you there is definitely more correlation between what you see and what you hear, and there's almost never a note or a phrase that is in there in a way that isn't going to make the audience expect to see something that makes sense. So anyway, that's a little discussion, I guess, about my staging philosophy for comedies, but also especially Italian comedies, but also about asides. And again, it's just one of those. We're in that really technical period of the comedy where you tweak it just this a little bit, and you tweak it and adjust it to the point where you're all just sick of it and you don't find it funny at all anymore, and then you just pray that when a couple of people come in who haven't seen it, they'll laugh and you'll remember that it's funny. So we're in that period, which is actually much more fun than it sounds. So thanks very much for listening. If you like these podcasts, feel free to share them with your friends, with the exception of last night's, which again I apologize for, and I will talk to you tomorrow after our first all-day chorus rehearsal. I will be very, very tired, I can warn you in advance. Thanks very much, and have a great night.